Does your trailing arm box look like this? Even if your rocker is completely gone on this side, the Clayway has the fix. Then you'll be able to take it and make it look just like this in your driveway in a couple hours, even if you don't work on cars. Nice to meet you. My name's Clay with the Clayway here in Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Michigan. I invented the world's only rusted trailing arm repair for the Chevy Equinox, Pontiac, Torrent, GMC Terrain, Saturn Vue. That's the only one right now till some a-hole from an Asian country steals my idea. This is on my year-and-a-half worth of work and my tens of thousands of dollars, if not thousands of hours worth of work I put into developing this so we could keep people's cars out of the junkyard. Even if you're an amateur, I'm going to show you exactly what to do, how to install these brackets, and keep your car on the road for a number of years. And if your frame looks like this, the reason that this worked, up inside this frame rail, there's a lateral bar that runs from one side of the vehicle to the other. Get it twisted. They don't often look like this. This is my personal vehicle, and this is the worst one that I ever seen. This is exactly why I fixed it. I could fix the worst one that could possibly be on the road. Yours, that's not quite as rusty as this one, can be on the road too. I've put about 10,000, 12,000 miles on this since I repaired these. Placed both boxes, both brackets on both sides. Before you place your order, you need to speak with the same vocabulary to make sure that you know exactly what to look for before you order a bracket from me. First thing we need to do is remove these two 15mm bolts up here. We need to make sure that you only need one bracket, because there's times where you may need two. There's a reason that I didn't make them one whole bracket per body roll. Oh, you might need two. Here's what you got to do. In this situation, this one looks pretty good. We can do this without jacking the car up or even taking the wheel off. You not being able to get them loose and them not coming out are two different things. If they come out, generally it's pretty good. If you need to drive the car around, just make sure that you can loosen them two rear bolts. If they do not come loose or the nut starts spinning in there, just stop. Order the brackets so they get there and replace them. You can still drive the car around. However, you do want to know to this plate and make sure it's there, not all broken up or something. If it spins like that, it looks like that, you need two brackets because these are caged nuts. Because of the layering effect up in here, there's no way to get up in here because it's boxed off. You can't get to the back side of them nuts at all to hold them without cutting holes in something that's probably already really rusty and not all that durable to begin with. So we make these a lot thicker and a lot stronger. There's a lot of difference in this. This is 18 gauge, 11. Sorry, we got you covered. We make both of them, even though this particular bracket is way more complicated than this bracket. It takes me a lot more time to make the back bracket. It is really super easy to install. You can install this bracket here within about 2 to 3 hours in your driveway with not a lot of extra tools, with the exception of needing a 110 wire welder. You can rent one of them at a local rental store, about $50 a day. I know what you're thinking. I don't know how to weld. I didn't know how to weld 6 months ago. 46 years old. Old dog can learn new tricks. Something that I learned that all welders have this sheet on the door here. Picking out 16, 18 gauge, you just follow this down to what type of wire you're using. You'll be good enough. Corn weld this bitch back in there and make it last. Simple. When you're doing a challenged project, just keep telling yourself, no matter what it is you think you can or cannot do, if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. Clayway absolute promises you. My job here on YouTube is to inspire and empower folks just like you to do things yourself. And you did not die when this thing broke. This thing is not going to kill anybody. You just want it to be safe and keep the geometry of the rear wheels proper and not wear out everything else, allow the frame to drop out like it did in this picture. In case you're wondering what that was, that is the subframe that connects your wheels to your vehicle. These go bad. All of this starts to shift inside here and rock back and forth because there's no connection to the frame any longer. That in turn degrades the rest of the mounting areas for the rear end and starts making it move back and forth, ruining wheel bearings, ruining tires, and causing big problems. You need to repair this affordably, safely, regain some integrity of this vehicle. You checked out used car prices nowadays? $1,000 that you're gonna spend to repair this is probably worth its weight in gold. My experimental trailing arm brackets do not cost $1,000 a piece. Would be ridiculous. Then replacing your car because it needs a $500 or $600 repair, a lot cheaper buying a $500 or $6,000 car that you know absolutely nothing about. My brackets are not that cheap. Not a crackhead. Oh, I might look like one. I got sick and lost my teeth, then the dog ate my false ones. I'm gonna make some money to get some new ones. Not a cheap hooker standing on the corner. Though I could be considered a mechanical prostitute. And I invented this. I can continue helping other folks that need help. Thank you. It's better, the devil you know or the devil you don't know. Already know all about your vehicle. Why not keep it on the road? Always better to repair versus replace. At least that's what I say up here on the Clayways. Make this stuff super simple for you folks, so you can do it at home. Even that one, once I build you the bracket. So I need the both of us to use the same vocabulary by looking at both brackets and removing the 2 bolts on the rear trailing arm bracket. So when you message me, I'm gonna ask you if you need the front bracket or the rear bracket. The front bracket only has 1 hole, and it's the one that I've already showed you. The rear bracket has 2 bolts, and if they don't come out, you need both. Installing both of them in your driveway is going to take you about 6 hours, probably, maybe 7 hours. Depends on what type of finish work process you go through when you're completing it. Don't ever look great. Do function perfectly. Not Pablo Picasso. There has been some folks that have sent me some really, really nice finish work. Good job for you folks. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that these brackets will outlast this vehicle. And if you're a complete amateur installing them. But I give you a full instructional, non-released video showing you exactly how to install both of these brackets, either individually or combined as 2, so you know exactly what to do. Trust me, if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. I guarantee you, not that complicated to do. Since I've been selling these, I realize there's some people that just want to buy 2 brackets because it makes sense placing one to replace them both. I don't recommend that. Don't do nothing with it. I don't want to charge you for it, and I appreciate you wanting to help me. You're more than welcome to give me extra money if you want. Even though I need to make a living, I don't have to make it all off of you. I'm only going to replace what needs to be replaced. We're not going to do extra. If you watch my channel long enough, you will certainly learn why I don't do extra. This invention to further our show, so we greatly appreciate folks like you helping good folks like us. Don't need both brackets. If the other one's not rusty and the bolts come out. This is pretty much a finished bracket that I'm going to ship out later today that just needs some weld-through primer. The thing that you're going to notice about this bracket, geometry of it. It's a complicated bracket, even though it looks pretty simple and it kind of looks like a TIE fighter. Or not, there's a lot of thought that went into this process. This is your main beam right here. But this beam is here for support because as that trailing arm pushes and pulls backwards, we don't want this collapsing in on itself and moving backwards like this. Along with that support there, it gives us a place to mount a running board if necessary, or if you had factory running boards, it allows you to make bracketry to attach that factory running board so it's not utilizing the rocker that's non-existent any longer. Along with overhang on the bracket bottom surface allows you to box in your frame if it was dilapidated or gone. Necessary, I don't normally do it. And you can't go around the other side and bolt this through floor support because there's lines and everything else in the way. You want to weld as much as possible. You're going to find during the installation video that I send you that we have fixed this here all the way across the top, on the edges, front and the rear. And we quite simply put epoxy over the top of it to go. More miles down the road. Your installation video, you're going to recognize that there's this double spot welded piece of metal on the sides here, front and rear. It hammers in between there, and that's why I make the brackets wider than the actual vehicle, so it stays up in there. I mean, these things get up in there pretty damn tight. Damn things wouldn't fall out without welding or epoxying. Do the same thing on the rocker side as well. Most of the time it's going to be gone and you're not going to have anything to weld to, but you're going to weld it as much as you can. Put about 1.5 years worth of research into it and bought about a half dozen automobiles to be able to fit these in there, ensure reliability, durability, longevity. A lot of time on this. I know you could weld some shit up inside your car, but there's a reason I don't make them inside the car. Holes in the side of it. That way, if somebody wants to seam seal this bracket in there opposed to welding, it also allows you to plug weld it to the side of the frame once it's cleaned up and ready to install. It's not the way that I do it here in my shop, but the way you could possibly do it at home, although I do highly recommend you just weld this bracket in. It's so simple. I'm going to send you a video showing you exactly how to clean up the areas and weld this thing in here. You may complain about is some slag left over on my welds, my poor welding. It's important to note that even though my welding isn't the greatest, I really didn't start welding till about 6 months ago. I don't do it daily, so they're not the greatest. Think about what you had inside your vehicle before this bracket. You didn't die. Trailing arm broke. You definitely ain't gonna die if my trailing arm broke. Will break. To think it would. I get excellent penetration. That's what she said. You have 4 kids, YouTube channel that doesn't pay crap. You need a way to keep making my free YouTube videos so I can continue to inspire and empower people just like you to do things yourselves. Wake up in the morning time and see people's messages like, because of your video, I was able to pay my rent, which is my favorite. Actually, when you buy one of these experimental trailing arm brackets, you're helping the rest of humanity because it allows me to continue doing what I do. You continue to do what you do. A lot more money in your pocket. The only thing that supersedes my ingeniousness is my incompetence at times. When you're thinking about busting my balls about my welding, keep in mind, damn near blind. I'm gonna get better over time. Still gonna be an asshole. About how long this thing lasted than this shit is. Spot welded together. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's the orientation of your S-bar called a 3-bolt bracket. This has 3 bolts in it too, but this is considered the trailing arm. That verbiage is important because when we're talking about you ordering one of these, I need to know what you're talking about. To make sure that these 2 bolts are removed from the S-bar, you often never need to replace this trailing arm portion. We can reuse this bracket. Isolator is not broken. It's not necessary to replace this. Hopefully you have the confidence to do this, and the only thing you need to know is right where to go to get your bracket from. Think about like you were a young kid and you learned how to ride a bike, learned how to talk, or you learned how to eat. Literally that simple to do. It's just gonna be new to you. Promise you can do it too. The only place you can order these brackets from is me for now. They often say duplication is the greatest form of flattery. Isn't the case because I use this to feed my family, continue to make my YouTube videos. You can look me up on Clay's AC and Auto Repair on the Facebook Messenger. Send me a DM. You can email me at thenewclayway@gmail.com. I don't check as often, so you might not be able to get a hold of me right away. Got like 10 different media sources that I run, so it's a little bit hard to keep up with every single thing. Use like one of the apps like Venmo or Zelle or something like that and pay for the brackets, and I ship them right out to you. It takes me about 5 to 6 hours to make each bracket. You may have a 2 to 3 day wait before I can ship them out, depending on how busy I am. I don't sell them every day. I usually sell 1 to 2 a week. So, at best, some weeks I don't sell none. Prefer you send me a message through Facebook. It's much easier to communicate and a lot quicker. I don't check my emails as well as I should. Facebook is how I communicate with people and help them for free daily with their automotive questions. So if you ever have an automotive question, I can't help you with that baby mama drama. I may be able to help you with that whip. You're more than welcome to go there, even if you're not buying anything from me. I'll answer you for free. Don't collect information. Don't care. Do it to help you, so you can continue to do what you do. Remember, life isn't only about the legacy you live for today, the one you leave for tomorrow. Don't be the next to them, be the absolute first to you, and if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. God bless, folks. Have the best of days.